Episode 8. It wasn't until she arrived at his table that he saw her eyes clearly. The greenest of green he had seen so far. It reminded him of the forest and its tranquility. Danger. Danger. Steer clear of this one. Their innocence has dragged many to the grave. Even if he gets a red hair in his bed, he would make sure she doesn't have green eyes. "Sir, your cups of black coffee is ordered," she said to him, and her voice sounded musical to his ears. "Warning! Warning!" The voice of caution sounded once again in his ears. The girl was a siren disguised as a mermaid and poised to drag him to the bottom of the sea where she drowned him and have him for dinner. His father has clearly warned him against girls like that. Their only function was to scratch his itch, not drown his mind. "It took you long enough." Lukas sounded less firm than he intended. They wasted his time. He should be scolding her, not petting her. "Lukas, come on, get your head back into gear." Suddenly his gaze noticed her furrowed brows, and it made him wonder if she was hurt by his words. If that's the case, she was weaker than he thought, and he wanted nothing to do with weak people. They slowed him down. They disguise him. Just because he's handsome doesn't mean he can't be a psychopath. Rhea had to remind herself of that. She had watched enough movies and read enough books to know that murder isn't written on their forehead, it's in their eyes and heart. Caution. Lukas noticed it in her gaze, and he wondered, does she know him? Not that he remembered. Only people who knew him, or could read him, experienced fear. What category does she fall under? Though people don't exhibit powers, some people are naturally repulsed by evil. Yeah, he was evil, and she must be repulsed by him. Arrogant, and definitely not her type, was the thought Rhea had when he finally spoke. The fact he was this handsome, more good-looking than her, was a stab to her woman pride. Weren't women supposed to be prettier than men? He must have many women drooling over his features wherever he goes. She would not be another addition to his endless list. Moreover, he was probably a one-time customer. There was no need to make him feel important. "Excuse me?" was her response to his comment. "Is your customer service this poor?" "I don't understand, sir." She tried to be nice, having no clue why he was trying to stir up trouble. It's enough her day started badly already. She watched him press a finger to his temple and rub there, as if trying to soothe a headache. Was he not feeling fine? Why does she even care? "Take that blood away from my sight as well," he said, waving her away from him as if she was an annoying fly. This time, Rhea's brows furrowed into a tiny frown. "What blood?" "Great," he heaved. "You're dumb too." It took everything in Rhea not to punch that asshole at the moment. It was not unusual to get rude and troublesome customers sometimes, but this was her first time meeting one so infuriating. She made a mental image of hurling him up to his feet and punching him across that playboy face, but that would result in her being fired, and she couldn't afford that at the moment. She needed the money. So, like a professional service provider, she said, "I apologize if you're not satisfied with her services rendered." He didn't even say a word to that. Such arrogance. However, Rhea continued, "Perhaps, when you're done, you can put down what aspect of our services you're not satisfied with in the feedback box over there." She pointed to the small box attached to the wall leading to the entrance. Rhea watched his lips curl, and she couldn't tell if that was a sneer or a smirk. He was unreadable. "I'll be more comfortable complaining to your manager," he said, sipping his coffee and all the same time holding her gaze. Rhea didn't back down either. She held his gaze. "Is that a threat?" Her eyes communicated. Before Rhea could come up with a smart retort, she caught sight of her boss coming out to supervise them, and she composed herself at once. The stranger must have followed her line of sight because he laughed this time. Asshole. He knew she couldn't do anything, and there was more room to fulfill his threat. So Rhea bowed instead, and as well put on a show for her boss, who had turned in her direction, scrutinizing her action. "Have a nice time here, sir," she added under her breath. "I hope you choke on your drink, pretty face." As if Rhea jinxed his luck, he choked on his drink as she desired, with some of them spilling down his shirt, and she had to fight against the urge to laugh at him. Her boss would kill her for that. So she did what was expected. Rhea grabbed a tissue from the next table with, "Excuse me," and began to help him wipe his clothes. Her boss would be so awed by her concern towards the customers. Rhea gulped when her hands accidentally pressed too closely to his body and felt his toned chest. This man definitely worked out a lot. She could help but wonder what he did for a living. Fitness instructor? No, he was too harsh. No sensible trainee would want to be under him. Although women would surely be drawn to that face. A soldier then? No, he was too pretty to be one. Oh God. Rhea shut the hell up and stay away from this stranger. And that was what she did. However, before she could move away, he whispered into her ears, the warmth from his breath almost burning her skin. People who touch me without permission gets their hands cut off. Rhea turned and their gaze met. Her heart almost jumped out of her chest. She shivered, not because of attraction, but the coldness she saw there. It was like winter season in June. But then, he blinked and the coldness vanished like it never came, replaced by a smile, a mask he wore. Like what you see? He winked at her. Rhea gulped yet assumed a neutral expression. She took the tray and left, ran for her life. Unlike what people thought of her, she had seen and done things that could land her jail time. And she knew that look in those eyes, the look of one who had taken a life. Lukas smirked from his table. All he did was show her a bit of the demons hidden deep inside of him, and she scampered away in fright. But then, she was interesting and lovely as well. He groaned as his member twitched. He wanted her, like the many other girls he wanted. Don't be mistaken. He never does love. His line of work doesn't need emotion. Emotions blinds then kill. It is a poison to his soul, one that accumulates over time and then rips him from the inside out. So he let her be, although occasionally stealing glances at the counter, searching where she went. Good girl. She was smart to run, if she loved her life. She was innocent and didn't belong to the sinful side of his world. Although he felt the urge to taint her, would she still retain that innocent glint in her eyes? He doubted so.
Full story is available at novelpalace.com. Click the link in the comment section to get it free.